now almost completely submerged. The ship left port at Incheon 9:30 Tuesday evening, headed to Jeju, a resort island just south of the Korean peninsula. Nearly 500 people were on board, 325 of them high school students from just outside Seoul on a class trip. Wednesday morning, shortly before 9 a.m., the ship sent out its first distress call. Witnesses tell Korean news network YTN they heard a loud bang, then the ferry started to list. Passengers say they were ordered to put on their life jackets. When seawater started gushing into the ferry, they began to scramble.
There was an announcement telling us to sit still on the ferry, but the ferry was already sinking. Some of the students were not able to escape. The ferry started to list, so we asked if we should escape now, but the announcement kept telling us to stay still.
I was keeping still without making any movements. There was an announcement that we should not move.
Another student on board says she felt tremors throughout the ship, strong enough to knock shipping containers off balance. Several classmates were flung off their feet.
I held a handrail and moved toward the right side of the ferry, toward a helicopter as water kept coming in. Trash cans were floating and water came up to my neck.
Helicopters and boats, including a ship from the U.S. Navy's 7th Fleet, rushed to the scene to help. Footage from South Korean TV showed helicopters hovering over the half-submerged ship. Panic-stricken passengers scrambled from the side of the boat, some clinging to railings, waiting for help.
I almost got trapped. If I was told that I should go outside, I could have jumped into the water through the exit, but I couldn't.
A handful of passengers were lifted to safety by helicopters, while dozens of others were pulled out of the frigid water by rescue boats. Within 2 hours, the ship had capsized and was almost completely underwater. By nightfall, only a small portion of the blue and white hull was still visible, while rescuers battled cold and swift currents, searching in the dark for any survivors.
Truly horrifying. And our Amra Walker joins us now. Amra, we're slowly getting a clearer picture of what went on inside that ship before it sank. Tell us what we know.
Aisha, it is just heartbreaking what we are learning. And of course, we are keeping our eye on South Korean media. We're also tracking what people are saying on social media to try to understand those last moments before this passenger ferry began sinking. Aisha, I want to first show you some of the text messages. The last texts between students on the ship and their family and friends are starting to emerge now. And as you'd imagine, they're just heart-wrenching. One son texted his mother, "Mom, in case I don't get to say this, I love you." And his mom, not knowing what was happening to her son, replied, "Why? Of course I love you too, my son." Now, many students also sent messages to their friends. One student sent a message to colleagues in the school theater club, and this is what he wrote. "I think we're all going to die. If I did anything wrong to you, please forgive me." And finally, that student wrote, "I love you all." Now, in another conversation, a desperate father was texting his teenager, and this is what he wrote. "I know there's a rescue operation underway, but if it is possible, get out of your room." Then the student replied, "No, Dad, the ship has tilted and I can't get out. No one is in the hallway." And sadly, Aisha, we just don't know the fate of these students just yet. We should also mention that CNN has obtained a picture of a purported text message from a student who is or was trapped, and that text message was received by the student's mother. I want to show you that now, and it reads, "No phone connection, so there is no internet connection. So just sending text message. There are few people on the ship. Can't see a thing. It's totally dark. So there are few men and women. Women are screaming. There are a few people in the ship, and we are not dead yet. So please send along this message."